All right, we're recording. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Functional Life Forum with Dr. Don. I'm going to let him take over. Today we are talking about the energy flow of money, and you can see on our screen, hopefully you can all see on our screen, the CurrenTcy. And Dr. Don, I'm going to let you take it from there.
Okay. Well, how come I can't see me now?
Here.
There I am.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Yay. Okay. Hello, welcome everyone to the first metaphysical discussion. Everything's been based in the physical universe. Now we're in the metaphysical universe, share the same space. And today's topic is the energy of money, or the metaphysics of money. Today shouldn't be a long discussion unless we get into it, all of us get into it, and with lots of thoughts and lots of questions, which I think we really can do today. Okay, so years ago, during my, the opening chiropractic practices and wellness centers and inventions with patents and all the rest, I never quite, except for some brief glimpses, seemed to be able to open a portal, open access to a larger flow of currency, CURRENCY, of money. And, like many people, thought about what the blocks are. As the book club went over things by Napoleon Hill and many others on, what could be some of the blocks, physical as well as metaphysical. And the physical blocks are those things that are discussed by so many of the success coaches, from Tony Robbins straight on down, Brian Tracy and others, as to the physical blocks that we may or may not do, that retard us from accessing greater amounts of economic flow, from clients to selling products to what have you. And then others talk about the metaphysical blocks. And by the way, if I can just jump back to the physical, in the physical blocks, of course, there's the actionables. And then there are the psychologicals, within the brain, within the mind. And I would consider those physical as well, physical manifestations. So, of course, many people have spoken from Dr. Norman Vincent Peale to many others regarding those aspects of psycho-emotional, psychophysical blocks. Psychology. What's our psychology? And, I went through a lot of that, looking for it, seeking that block in myself. I advented into extreme metaphysics in 2002, which has continued to today, which has allowed me to perhaps understand it far better on the metaphysical side of what that block is. And this is a relatively recent revelation, definitely within the past year, perhaps actually in the past 7 or 8 months regarding this. And it was a massive revelation that came in actually just off to my left in the cozy corner. Camille's been in the cozy corner here at my place for a wonderful discussion, our first discussion. So if I can just drop back into what are the blocks to the flow of money, economy, currency. And in the psychological, which we're not going to talk about today, but I want to put these things up there. Limiting beliefs. We may have limiting beliefs that are limiting our access to achieving things, doing things, from doing a business plan to being in action every day. Also, core beliefs, not limiting beliefs, but core beliefs and programs that, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, all things like that. And then the other physical aspects, I'm just going to read this, I wrote before, all the material actions we take to physically manifest the flow of economy. That is joining groups like Natural Life Business Partnership, accessing opportunities within there, doing the things we need to do on a daily basis, our to-do list, the physical actions that create the paths to individuals, things online, but they are paths, they are physical paths from which people may purchase from us, service or a product or what have you. Those are the physical blocks, and we all know those, and we're going through those all the time. The metaphysical blocks, I'm going to read this again, and it sounds very similar because there is no difference between the physical and the metaphysical. The physical is just the solid, the matter and energy of the universe. The metaphysical is the energy that creates that and flows through that. Metaphysical, any metaphysical, immaterial action that can manifest the flow of economy. I'm going to read that one more time. From the metaphysical, any metaphysical immaterial, it's the immaterial universe, immaterial action, metaphysical intention, other things along these lines. Let me finish reading. Any metaphysical immaterial action that can manifest the flow of economy. And this is where we see kind of the inklings of this in the aspects of the secret, the law of attraction, where a positive thought will yield a positive attribute or positive occurrence. And that's perhaps the basic first level of looking at this. And tonight I'd like to explore differently, as opposed to an attraction, which I'm not saying it's not, but I believe it's something similar to a lot of us actually see within the physical universe. So I'd like to ask the question first. What do you guys think are some of the limitations? And let's stay in the metaphysical. What do you think are what things are limiting you from the taking in of economy to increase the flow and access to that, from accessing more clients that manifest to the increase of, again, by the way, flow is always going to occur between one person to another or an institution and another, right? It does not grow on trees. So the flow is going to come from those directions. So if I could put it out, any thoughts out there? Any thoughts from the audience?
Are you saying what we feel stops the flow of money to ourselves?
Yeah, from a metaphysical aspect. I'm sure all of us have studied it at one point or another. Certainly Napoleon Hill was speaking to that. His mastermind is a great example of a metaphysical communion where two or more. So to generate and to achieve that which is in the imagination. So yeah, anything. What do we think limits us metaphysically?
Your belief systems.
Yeah, I was just going to say our fears.
Yeah, doubts.
I could tell you exactly what Napoleon Hill said.
Fear. Throw it out. Fear.
Yeah, fear is the big one. The fear of poverty, the fear of loss of love, the fear of, what were they? There were 6 fears. 6 fear, and then the 7th evil is actually what it is. Here, wait. Since I carry his book with me.
Right. I heard beliefs.
Yeah, it's our belief system.
Belief system.
Our fears, I think.
Belief system. Thank you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fear. Meryl, you said fear.
No, doubts.
Oh, fear, doubts, right.
Unworthiness.
Right.
Fear of what other people will think.
Okay. David, any thoughts?
I was just going to say whether you believe you deserve it or not, which I think Meryl just touched on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Deserving it, right. Anne-Marie, anything?
Almost like a fear of too much success.
So again, fear in some way, right? Yeah, and that's true. That's true. What will success bring? The fear thereof. Good. All right. I'll address that stuff at the end. Okay. So the word, can everybody see that word? That's one of the words that came along. Well, it actually didn't come along with the big revelation that opened all this up. It came, in the last couple of years. The aspect of CurrenTcy with the added T, right? So CurrenTcy is whatever currency a nation is putting forward as their economy, the dollar, the yen, what have you. Whatever it's going to be is the currency in that nation. There's an enormous amount of currencies in the world, and the amount of currency in the world is finite. It varies, and it could vary from second to second, but it's not infinite. It is definitively finite with an enormous amount of minds looking to attract that finite amount of currency. So I made it like currency to give it really, I feel, a greater truth. The greater truth is that everything is energy. We know that. It's a common state. It's a common thing, and it's true. Everything is energy. Everything is reducible to energy. The aspect of the body thrown into the thermonuclear sun will be converted to energy. Of course, the energy that is already energy is energy. And down at the quantum level, in the potential state, everything is potential energy. So that being said, would we all agree that electricity is a form of energy? Would we all agree?
Yeah.
It is. And would we all agree that electricity flows through lines of power? We all agree. Okay. By the way, when there's a lot of electricity, it does not require a line to travel. Lightning, arcing, will create its own path from one point to another. And this is important. This is important. I'll show you the examples in a little bit. So since everything's energy, money, a human-created energy, flows like electricity. It flows along conduits, immaterial conduits, but no less more true. And those conduits can be seen. Let's take, for example, an individual who works for a company. That person has one singular conduit that goes from the company to themselves, in which the energy of money, of currency, flows to them. Now, they may have smaller ones with some savings accounts or IRAs or other things, and that would allow other connections, other paths, other lines of flow into them. And that is how currency, the energy of money, flows. And if we look at that from a business aspect, and Merrill, I'm going to use you as an example. Our current clients, we are directly connected to. Oh, both you and Merrill, and David and you. Either they're buying products from us, and we have a direct connection, a line of connection to them, in which currency flows. And what I want to extend out to that is that there are other potential lines yet to be drawn, yet to be created in clients that you do not have yet, which could desire, those could want your service or your product. And those are the lines that can be created as well. Now, that you're going to say to yourself, well, yeah, I'm going to market and I'm going to spread my message and I'm going to do these things. And I think many people go through the physical actions and yet still don't find success. They do many things right and still not making the lines of connection and increasing the flow of economy, or increasing the flow of economy to even meet some of their business goals, or not able to expand it at all. Doing all the physical actions, not making the connections to all the potential buyers of their service, where the flow of the energy of money, currency, can flow. Why? And here was the big reveal. Electricity will flow from a negative source to a positive source. Electricity will flow from an area of a lot of electrons to an area of less electrons. If I had a battery on this side of the Earth and I had a line of connection to a lot of electrons on the other side, and my battery had room in it, the electrons would instantaneously flow into my battery. My battery had room in it. What happens is that electricity will not flow into a battery that's full. If there's not a room, the electrons will not even look in that direction. It doesn't even exist for the flow of electrons, for the electrons to even flow. That's how electricity flows. That's how lightning goes from a high state to a ground state, and can jump from the cloud to the ground, or the ground to the cloud, or from cloud to cloud. So what is it within us? Metaphysically, and this is the reveal, metaphysically we each have, whether you want to call it a battery, whether you want to call it a treasure chest, whether you want to call it a box, each one of us has this capacity to allow the flow of money into us. Now, on a normal pace, with normal beliefs, right, that battery is constructed because, again, money is a humankind development. It is a construct of humanity or humankind. And we are taught that construct, and we grow our own metaphysical capacity to take that energy into us. It's not the bank account. It's not the space under the mattress. We all have a real immaterial battery. I'm going to use the term battery for now, for myself. That's what I use for myself. And it increases with size. When we're younger, we're not bringing in $100,000. When we're younger, our battery is very small. It matches our beliefs. It matches what we've been taught. And by the way, these are some of the things of the physical world, like you're saying, of deserving, being worthy, that limit the size of your battery. The battery will also grow as you age. And the battery will grow because your unconscious recognizes that you are worthy of a job of $25,000 or $40,000. You go to school and do something in college that has a spectrum of possibility that is certainly agreeable and known to be true by your unconscious, and to have an expansion of that is well within the realm of the metaphysical truth. So, and then what happens is that we get blocked. That in order to increase here, the thing is, not knowing you have a battery, not knowing you have a capacitor, a space to take that flow in, you never go and change that. Most entrepreneurs, in their mindset, deep inside them, they are unknowingly expanding the capacity of that to be able to take that in. They're not thinking about the sale or anything. They've already created a space within them, within their reality, that's expanding that battery. Can we do it? And that's, the ones who are very successful, the ones who, without the limiting beliefs, the ones who, for good or bad, feel they're fully worthy of it. But they are, can you hear me? Everything okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That they are doing it on an unwitting, unknowing level. There's other aspects of manifestation that they are manifesting, that they're just doing, but that's not for today's discussion. So we go into business and we advent in there, and our beliefs, our focus is in the material world, and rightfully so. And we're doing all the right things to create that, those connections, and we're successful. The vast majority of entrepreneurs never expand to any of the levels of their dreams or the levels of their imagination. It just does not happen. And we're not talking 80%. It's not. We're talking 98% of entrepreneurs. Most fail multiple times without the successes that they sought. They're doing the right things in the physical world, and they are simply unaware that one of the things that they must do, not should do, not could do, but must do, is the increasing the capacity of their battery. Now, that doesn't mean, well, I'm just going to increase it to $1 billion. No, your unconscious cannot be lied to. Your unconscious, that will never occur. But you certainly can expand it. Your business plan may have $1 million in it for profit, but your capacity may just be at 75,000 or 110,000. And by the way, it's not fixed. 100,000 could be 150. You know. And by the way, success on the physical side, success that comes incrementally, where your capacity may be 100,000, and you know what your niche, what you're doing has created a flow into it, and that battery is responding and increasing in size. I would say that's the rarity, but that's possible. It doesn't go from a small amount to an incredibly large amount. It slowly grows just as a reaction to what's occurring in the business. I would say that is, as we all know, the incredible rare aspect. I'm not talking about those of the overnight riches which occur, and I don't want to get into that, but those individuals, I assure you, were unconsciously created. They created that space for the flow of economy to occur. Now, with that being said, I want to get into the really cool metaphysics of this, which is it's just absolutely an advancement on the law of attraction, which is this. Now, if we just looked at electricity, and I had a battery, I had a lot of connections going out into the world, all over the world. If I had space in my battery, electrons all over would look in my direction. That would cause them to look in my direction. Then once they knew that there was space, they would come to into the battery. That is just a law of electricity. The same thing is true with this. Two things we have to consider. One is the expansion of our battery, the expansion of our capacity. And in the metaphysical aspect, once we do that, to project, this isn't just another part of it, to create the lines of connection. We may have some, let me just be an example. We can use it for both of you, whether you're selling a product or whether you're selling a service, right? Or delivering a service. There are those out there that are absolute potential users of your service or product, and those that will become. The aspect is when we expand our capacity, that we throw these lines out, that these lines can be, I'm not throwing them out, that we are creating what's what I'm looking for. We are creating the difference. Just like there's a difference in poles for electrons to jump, we are creating the metaphysical difference that will take someone, whether we run marketing, whether it's a networking aspect, whether we're sending stuff on Facebook, we're creating the metaphysical difference that someone is going to see what we're offering. It is the shift of probability that occurs metaphysically. This goes into luck and everything else, but it's real, and it's absolutely shiftable by our consciousness, that we will increase our probability of making those connections. Our capacity is greater. We are doing the physical needs of making physical connections to these people, and we are going to create a greater difference, a greater probability that those people, we call it coincidence. You call it, I just happened to be looking. I picked up the paper. I met this friend who was using your product. Those are things that happen more because of the increase in capacity, because of this difference, those lines want to be made, that energy of money wants to flow. If the capacity isn't there, and if the potential lines aren't there, it won't flow. But if the lines can be potentially created, the shift of probability that people will act on the marketing, it will be spread, it will come into their consciousness, will occur, the connection made, energy flows. So this is the metaphysical aspect of the flow of the energy of money. Now, we have people talking about multiple income streams, multiple businesses. Absolutely true, and it can work. Most people, what do they do? They work. They work for a company. That company has multiple lines of currency flow into them, and then a single line out that goes to one employee, another line that goes to another employee, and of course, other lines out. We all have these lines. We have these lines that come in, and we have these lines that go out. Paying bills, going to the restaurant, right? This energy is always flowing, right? And the one aspect, increasing the capacity, is having it flow in far faster than it could ever flow out. All right? So it is dynamic, and it's occurring. And for those of us in the entrepreneurial realm with one business or two businesses, it doesn't matter. What we want is we want multiple connections in place, and the potentiality and the increased probability of more connections to be made. And going back again, it comes down to, you must first have the capacity to take in the energy of money first. The physical. I'm repeating myself here, but just putting it in. The physical aspects of then your marketing, getting your message out, all of that, and the increased probability of people of money. There is no separation. There is no difference. The money that you take in is a part of you. That energy is a part of you while it's with you. And that money will shift you to places where it wants to go, where it can go, where it's best served for you to go. It's a part of you. It's a very interesting metaphysical aspect.
Don?
So, yes.
When you say capacity, do you mean your own, like you mentioned the capacity of what you will allow to come in? Are you talking about someone's limiting belief on what they can bring in?
Yeah, well, two things. It's
I think people create that themselves, that they are onto themselves unlimited.
One thing is to say it. Another thing is to do it. And by the way, it's untrue that is a belief that can never occur.
What can
when it comes to money? Money is not unlimited, and this is where people make the mistake. Money is finite. This is where people, even very gifted, powerful, I call them psychics, powerful people who can actually affect future states, have no shot at affecting the lottery. Reason being, the lottery is something that does not require a connection, because it has a massive charge, a massive amount of money, a massive amount of energy that, like lightning, can jump to a space, can jump to 1, 2, 3, 4, whoever wins the lottery. However, there are millions, often 100 million, tens of millions minds fixed on drawing or quote unquote attracting that money to them. And the false belief that they're unlimited on a finite amount disconnects their metaphysical capacity.
Okay,
their unconscious knows that.
I'm not talking about the lottery, because I do agree with that.
But you have to step back to understand that there is a limited amount of U.S. dollars. Most of us aren't thinking in yen or other things along those lines. It's all part of currency on the global economic scale. Most of us here are thinking in dollars. And of course, there's a limited amount of dollars, and finite amount of dollars, within the United States. Money creation only occurs at banks that are lending. It doesn't even occur at the federal bank. So that's where we can say I'm unlimited. I'm unlimited in what I can take as far as money. I'm not saying in other capacities to a certain extent, and even there, it would be a false belief. Which any false belief disconnects you from power, from your own power. Money, currency, is a finite quantity. So to answer your other question on capacity,
print
yes.
more. Like,
I'm
if
sorry?
the economy goes that way, they really just print more. It's not based on gold.
That's untrue. This goes into beliefs that we may have, which are not true. The U.S. Mint does not simply print money. Usually, what they're doing is destroying money, but they don't print money. Money in neoliberal capitalism is actually created by banks, by banks creating debt, usually in the form of mortgages. That's where money is created. And that's part of the huge problem of why we have mass suffering in these type of capitalist societies. Not that capitalism is bad, just from capitalism. So it doesn't print money. The Fed can actually create digital amounts to pay off debt, but no, that's not true. Sorry, but yeah. But what's your holdout there?
Well, I believe that I understand economy, and there's so much money, but there's an incredible amount of money, and we kind of run on debt in this world. But yep. If I don't think that I would attract the world's amount of money to me, but I believe that there's a pretty damn good piece of it, so that can be attracted to me or anybody else, because I believe in abundance. I believe there's enough.
Absolutely. I'm just saying the aspect that someone's has infinite capacity to attract, right? With a finite base, and with everyone looking to attract that same money. And the money is in pools, whether it's in government pools, bank accounts, corporate. Most of it's in corporate accounts, private accounts as well, within savings or what have you. That money is pooled. So the aspect is, what are you creating? Along with, I agree with your beliefs, but your beliefs also require, if they're more in alignment with the metaphysical truth, you will have greater power. Mm-hmm. So beliefs, and we'll get into that faith and everything else, and what that is, and why fear and doubt inhibits or even destroys our metaphysical capacity to form or create futures, right? But it's by the way, it's not a negative. It's not a, when I'm talking about this, it is, I am fully engaged in great faith on the metaphysics of it. However, with so many of us utilize and undercut ourselves by our beliefs that we believe are true. Because we believe they're true, they may not be true at the metaphysical level, and that uncouples us. It can uncouple our power. So money will flow, absolutely. And yes, you don't want all of it, but you certainly say, you know what, in my business plan, I can certainly make $1 million this year over the next 3 years, or 250,000, 300, 400,000, right? And that my capacity is unlimited to create the metaphysics to make that happen. Absolutely. But you see how the alignment of thought, if we believe consciousness is the key, a greater aligned consciousness, a greater awareness of truth enhances our power for it to occur.
Are you saying not to believe in the world unlimited, but to say, I'll take 100 billion, because that's worth it?
To take 100 billion?
Yeah. I mean, are you just saying you don't like the word unlimited?
No, I didn't say that. No. I even said that an individual's potential is unlimited, but not to for them to believe and create a false belief that they have unlimited access to whatever they can generate, if you will. Yeah, it's you may have unlimited potential, and in essence, your potential may not be unlimited, but it's okay. No, what I'm speaking to is the recognition that it's a finite amount of energy, and that there are a lot of consciousnesses looking to attract or to draw, not to create the paths to that. I'll give you another example where there's no other consciousness in your way, no other consciousnesses competing, as in for healing another. Someone is ill, someone is sick, right? And we use intentionality to create a future where their illness doesn't exist, whether it's you or whether it's another. The rest of the world, it's not that they don't care, they're not aware. They're not looking for that individual to be sick. They're not looking for whatever here is where we do have unlimited possibility and potential energy to heal, to create a future, if we can tap it, if we can manifest it for the individual. But there are no other minds in the way. There are no other minds, no other consciousness getting in the way and vying for the limited space of that healing. It doesn't, that where we can see is totally different than a finite resource that millions and millions, tens, 100 million, 200, actually in this country, hundreds of millions are vying for and pulling at and trying to get that energy to flow to them. What I'm saying is that if we understand the meta mechanics better, underneath the metaphysics, that we have a far greater advantage over creating the flow of the energy of money to us by understanding and putting in place the meta mechanics. And let me get back to your question on what do you mean by capacity. A battery, we know little batteries, AAAs, have less of a capacity than Ds, than the big batteries. And of course, the car batteries, the truck battery, keep going on and on and on. The capacity increases, in essence, by the size of the battery. It's not, of course, entirely true, but you get the idea. It's the capacity. We all have within us a certain limitation capacity to attract, to allow money to flow into us. When it's full or near full, the flow will slow down and will potentially stop. What do I mean by that? Let's say over the course of a year, you have a flux of 100 to 150,000. You may make a lot less than that. You may draw a lot less energy of money to you than that. But let's say you're on target. That means, well, let me make it easy for myself, $120,000. That means $12,000 a month total is going to come into you. That means in a certain day, a certain amount is going to be flowing into you. And yes, just like electricity flows at highs and lows and alternating current, so does money, coming into us. And so, but that, on an average, is what's going to flow into us. That's the capacity of the. By the way, the size of the lines. We all know that we have 120 volt running in our houses, but if we ran 220, we need a thicker line, right? Yeah. So that's another aspect to this. Make the connections out and then increase the line. Increase the capacity of the lines to clients and customers who could be larger flowers. That means even with David, individuals who could open up to more people to flow in, that they could become a larger line, capacity flow of energy. For Merrill, and this is where people can become larger referrers, or within opening up into a corporation, what have you. It's putting that intentionality into action, but understanding on the meta mechanics of it, that I want these. Let me give you an example. It doesn't exist yet. I want a corporate client. I don't know who that corporate client's going to be, but I'm increasing my capacity within the reason, of my unconscious, within my plan, okay? That, and of course, you want to increase your plan, change your plan, and grow it and grow it and grow it. Understanding I don't just increase my business plan, I increase my capacity before I put my business plan in action. But I want a corporate client. I want a corporate client. I'm going to, and think about it, I'm throwing out lines. I already have ones in existence with my current clients, but I'm going to throw out a near infinite. This is where array of lines. I'm throwing those lines out, and they're going to be ready to connect to the clients that their money, their energy shifts them to see the Facebook, to see the Instagram, to see the piece, whatever it's going to be, to connect with the person who's going to tell them. But these lines are single lines. I want to throw out a few big lines. They're out there waiting to connect to a corporation. I create, metamechanically, metaphysically create the larger line. I know I can't handle a company of 1,000 or 1,500 or 10,000 employees. I'm going to create that line that will hit a company with 100, 200, 300 clients. What I know, I can, and my unconscious knows that I can realistically service and be successful with, and you make connections. So these are some of the metamechanics underlying the currency, the flow of CurrenTcy. So that pretty much in a very quick display and a very quick sharing, thus the metaphysics, the metamechanics of energy, of money. So questions, thoughts. I don't have a question. Thoughts. I'll get to the faith stuff in a second. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're talking, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. When you're talking about build it or send the lines out, from that excellent movie where they use the line, build it and they will come. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that what you want to do is you want to build that space, essentially build that battery through your intention? And yes. By doing that then is going to be, when you're ready, you're going to be open for those clients and those lines you're talking about.
It's not even being ready, but you're correct. Build it and they will come. It is an absolute great line and a great truth. And it's almost, think of it as a bridge, that there are people on the other side that just want to get over that ravine, but they have no way to get there. As soon as you build the bridge, they can flow. They can come across. It's not that you're ready to service them on the side, that the connection is there. There's space for them to come, and they will come. And
without that space, they won't come. Correct?
Without what?
Without that space, they won't be coming.
Exactly. Yeah. If there was 100 people on one side and 200 people on the other side, and the 100 people didn't have any place, they're even though you build a bridge, they're not coming. There's no space for them. There's no food for them. It's not a good place to go. They will not come, even though a bridge is there. Correct.
Very good. Very good.
Right.
When you were talking about electricity before, also, were you talking like Tesla with the Tesla coils that are able, that electricity travels through the air?
Yes.
That analogy. Okay.
Yeah, well, that was the analogy that we could use for like a lottery, or that someone inherits money, unknown. It comes to them. Doesn't really, even in inheritance, there's still a line of connection. Yeah, large amounts of money can jump to a single individual. It can occur. Just the same way that electricity from a cloud can hit us. Probability is small, but it exists. Just getting back to stuff about fear, even Napoleon Hill's aspects of fear and doubt. Fear and faith are two produced energies by human beings. Fear is not an emotion, as per the life model. Fear is one of our most deepest, primal production of energy. It is not an emotion. It is not a negative or positive emotion. Fear was protective. Fear protects us. It has always protected us. In the new brain that we have, the brain that allows us to take the past and project into the future, we can create fear from creating an unformed future and worrying about it, thinking about it, projecting into the future. That's what our brains have the capacity to do. And now fear can pause us. Fear can do other things. Fear that's produced can last a much longer time, as opposed to in the past, fear happened and we had to make a decision. The rattle in the grass, the predator lurking by, we had to move. We had to get to safety. Fear didn't last for too long, or we were killed by that which we were afraid of. But now fear we produce because of our increased capacity of mind. Fear and faith cannot exist in the same state. Fear is the
pause button of life.
Thank you. Yeah, fear is the point, but fear takes faith and brings it down to the level of belief. Belief and faith are faith is a belief raised to a certain threshold where it becomes faith, a much more powerful energy. And fear shuts that down. Fear shuts down the presence of faith. Faith is an important, critical, vital element that can enhance our ability to future form, to create futures, to manifest futures. Whether it's healing, whether it is the creating of opportunities, or anything that we are looking to imagine and to create and to manifest in the future. The presence of faith enhances that capacity, that metaphysical ability to manifest. So fear will take away faith. The same is true for doubt. Doubt undermines faith. But it undermines faith not from a metaphysical aspect. Fear and faith cannot exist metaphysically in the same framework, but doubt undercuts belief, undercutting faith, and faith can't be produced in the presence of doubt. And this is where we also see our ability. Remember, we talked about expanding the battery. Well, if you have faith, right, the metamechanics, you're going to be able to do that and construct that. If you do not believe, if you do not have faith, if you have doubt, you may understand the concept. You may believe in it to a degree, maybe. Actually, no. If you have doubt, there is no belief. It will not happen. If you're creating those connections to potential sources of energy of money, if you have faith in those projections, they will project. Your chances and probabilities will be enhanced greatly to create those. If you doubt it, if you don't believe in it, of course, it'll never occur, ever occur. So this is what undercuts us in those aspects of I don't deserve it, I'm not good enough, I am not worthy. These are all generators of doubt, which cripples and uncouples faith, and disrupts even the possibility of forming the metamechanics of forming this of which we're speaking. And you're locked into only the potential for the physical flow of energy or anything that's occurring.
So they cancel each other out?
They can't exist. Yeah, one can't exist with the other. With faith, fear can't exist. If there's fear, faith can't exist. But the manifestation of faith can eliminate fear. They can non-exist absolutely.
If I may ask, when you're talking about faith, are you talking about it in the way that people tend to think about faith as in like a religious connotation, or
no?
Maybe, I'm not
no.
What you mean by faith? Maybe you could explain.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Whether you believe in a deity, or multiple deities, if that is what takes to generate faith in you, faith is still faith, no matter how it occurs. It doesn't require the belief in a deity. It require in just the knowledge of the design of universe and more, and the creation, underpinnings of creation, of what it all is. And I like to believe in that a blind faith, an unknowing faith, can absolutely allow us a greater power to manifest. to heal, to create opportunities to do these things. But a knowing faith, a faith that's based upon knowing the metamechanics of the metaphysics of reality and the universe and more, is, I feel, a much more powerful faith, one that is unbreakable, one that is sustainable, one that is can be generated in a moment's notice. And again, all this is cultivated often for us, in the practice of meditations and other mindful, mind expanding or mindful filling exercises. There are those among us who are evolved and can do it rather easily to an extent. I believe the vast majority of us can be trained and exercised, if you will, to expand our metaphysicality. And thus is the realm of mindfulness, meditation, and other practices along those lines to expand our capacity. Any thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
Have you ever heard the expression "fake it till you make it"?
I have.
Is that for?
I would say no.
Level of faith.
Yeah, you can't lie to your unconscious state, the most powerful part of you.
I mean that you're in a situation where your belief system is, yes, I'm going to make it. Right now, I'm in a $2 cheap suit, but in a month from now, I'll be here, and I'm going to go talk to people, and that's how I'm going to occur for them that I am a successful person. I'm faking it till I can make it.
Yeah, I think those are absolutely one in the realm of the physical, as well as the psychological. And it's so important, it's belief. You're still creating a belief cloud. Fake it till you make it. You're still believing, in that. You're constructing a future state in the present by dressing and doing the things. So it's still an aspect of future formation, manifesting the future by present actions, whether putting on a suit or projecting the mind, into the future. It's a good point, Brian. And all part of and able to be seen within the metamechanics of the metaphysics of reality creation. But we're at the end. I think we're at an hour, and if no one has anything else to share or thoughts on it, I'm definitely, anyone wants to speak about it or how to put it into your business plan, how to bring it in to your success. Of course, I'd speak to anyone.
Anyone? No, that was excellent. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
What do you think for next week? Or when do we have something else on the calendar?
End of the month.
We do the 24th. The 24th.
Yeah.
One.
I don't know. Does anyone out there want to host and do something, put something on?
What do you mean, put something on?
Yeah, someone wanted to want to bring some other thing out. I don't have to host. The next one, someone wants to bring something forward, an idea for themselves or something that they'd like to share or open a discussion. Definitely willing for that. Otherwise, I should have thought about what to do for next week.
Well, usually next time comes off of this discussion.
Yeah, I mean, but this was kind of a one-off.
It's off the next one, yeah.
Yeah, this
next
is
one. How to build the battery?
How to build the battery?
No. I'm sorry.
How to build the battery? Maybe.
No. Well, which I invite. At the end of the month, I'm teaching Meditations 101 up at Parsley. It's a 3-part course, which one of it's a 6-fold path. One of the paths is about CurrenTcy. The other ones are about future formation, manifesting the future. One is about connecting to the unbound. You could call it heaven, call it what you want. You might call it speaking to angels. In the life model, we would call it guardians. Even creating shields, things like that. So, but 101 starts with understanding the metamechanics of the metaphysics of reality and breath. We start with breathing, and that's in the whole concept of not just breath, but the whole concept of it's meta, M-E-T-A, not M-E-D, meditations, and the understanding of what you're going to be doing. So I lay that all out. But I mean, we can't do that on. I mean, I guess you could do it online, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
That's something to be done for now for me in person. But yeah, I don't know. I know you like the gut. I know we've been there. Just trying to think. Yeah, I'm writing an article right now on. And it's going to be a cool article. I had done a talk on I call it the link between ADD, smartphones, video games, addiction, self-worth, all that. Yeah. And I'm doing an article